What if I told you there's a country where you can live a high-quality life for well under $1,500 a month, surrounded by the epic Caucasus Mountains, ancient history on every street corner, and some of the most genuinely hospitable people on Earth? I'm talking about the country of Georgia, a place that's become something of a legend among digital nomads and expats. But what's it actually like to live here? In this video, I'm sharing my unfiltered experience as an expat in Georgia. This is your complete guide, covering everything from the surprisingly low cost of living that gets everyone's attention, to the rich, complex local culture you need to understand before you even think about booking a flight. We'll look at the pros, and we will not shy away from the cons. This is the real story of what to expect when you move to the gem of the Caucasus. I've spent the better part of the last few years living, working, and exploring every corner of this incredible country. I've had my breath taken away by the scenery. I've been humbled by the generosity of strangers. And yes, I've also spent hours in navigating bureaucracy that could test anyone's patience. I've seen the postcard version of Georgia, and I've lived the day-to-day reality. My goal here is to give you that complete picture. We're going to break it all down, looking at the good, the great, the challenging, and the frustrating. Because moving here is a huge decision, and you deserve more than just the highlights. You deserve the full story. So, let's get into it. Let's start with the #1 reason Georgia lands on almost every expat's radar: the cost of living. The rumors are true. It is incredibly affordable. But is it the budget paradise everyone claims? The value for money here is, without a doubt, one of the biggest draws of expat life in Georgia. If you're earning income from outside the country, as a remote worker, an online entrepreneur, or a retiree, your money stretches in ways that seem almost impossible back in North America or Western Europe. Let's talk numbers. In the capital, Tbilisi, the most expensive place in the country, a single person's monthly expenses, without rent, hover around $640. Now, let's add housing. A modern, clean one-bedroom apartment in a popular central neighborhood like Vake or Vera can run you between $500 to $760 a month. My own first apartment in the Sabir Talo district was on the lower end of that, and it was perfect. If you look at neighborhoods just a little further out, or in other cities like Batumi or Kutaisi, those prices drop quite a bit. Utilities are also refreshingly low, usually around $75 a month for everything: electricity, water, gas, and high-speed internet. And the food, we'll get to that, but your grocery bill will be a pleasant surprise. A monthly food budget of about $325 is totally realistic for one person. An evening out is just as easy. A meal at a great Georgian restaurant might cost you about $9 to $11 for a main course and a drink. A monthly transport pass in Tbilisi is one of the cheapest in the region. It all adds up to a lifestyle where you're not just getting by, you're thriving. You can afford to go out, travel the country on weekends, and save money without feeling like you're constantly pinching pennies. With a monthly budget of around $1,500, you're living comfortably. With $2,000, you're living exceptionally well. Now, for a dose of reality. The cost of living is so low because local wages are also low. This is a crucial thing to understand. Georgia is an economic paradise for those with foreign currency, but it's not a place to move to hoping to find a high-paying local job. The opportunities are limited, and the salaries reflect the local economy. If you got a job with a Georgian company, you'd be taxed at a flat rate of 20%, but the salaries themselves are often not enough to provide the same level of comfort an expat with foreign income enjoys. This is why the expat scene here is filled with digital nomads, entrepreneurs, and retirees. They bring their earning power from a stronger economy and plug it into Georgia's low-cost environment. So while the affordability is a huge pro, it comes with the big caveat that this benefit is almost exclusively for those who aren't relying on the local job market. It's a reality check that helps you see the full economic picture, not just the attractive price tag. Next up, the practical side of actually staying here. Because a low cost of living doesn't mean much if it's a nightmare to remain in the country. This is where Georgia really shines. Georgia has one of the most generous visa policies on the planet. Citizens from over 90 countries, including the entire EU, the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia, can enter Georgia and stay for a full 365 days, visa-free. Let me say that again. A full year. This is a complete game changer. It eliminates the stress of constant visa runs and the bureaucratic headaches that plague expats elsewhere. You can arrive, find an apartment, set up a bank account, and actually settle into life without the pressure of a short-term tourist stamp. It gives you the breathing room to decide if Georgia is right for you in the long run. On top of this, Georgia introduced the Remotely from Georgia program, or the Digital Nomad Visa. This allows high-income remote workers to apply for a visa that formalizes their right to live and work here. To qualify, you generally need to prove a monthly income of at least $2,000 or have savings of $24,000, plus valid health insurance. It's an official stamp of approval for the lifestyle so many expats are already living. And the application is known for being pretty straightforward and online. Here's the interesting thing about Georgian administration. Getting into the country is incredibly simple, but dealing with any bureaucracy after that can sometimes feel like a trip down the rabbit hole. For things like setting up a business, applying for a residence permit, or any other official paperwork, you will get to know a place called the Public Service Hall, or House of Justice. While the system is meant to be a one-stop shop and is, in theory, efficient, the reality can be a bit more complicated. The rules can seem unclear, requirements can change depending on who you talk to, and the language barrier can be a real issue. While many younger staff in Tbilisi speak English, it's not a guarantee. This is a common headache for many expats. You might be told you need one document, only to come back and be asked for another. It takes a lot of patience. Many long-term expats will tell you the best investment you can make is hiring a good local lawyer or a fixer who knows the system and speaks the language. It costs some money, but it can save you a ton of time and sanity. So, while the front door is wide open, be ready for a few confusing hallways once you're inside. Okay, we've covered money and paperwork. Now, let's get to the soul of the country. The thing that, for many, becomes the best part of living here. The culture. You can't talk about Georgia without talking about its hospitality. It is legendary for a reason. There's a deeply held cultural belief here that a guest is a gift from God. And this isn't just a saying, it's something they practice every day. Complete strangers will often go to incredible lengths to help you out. My first real taste of this was a few months after I moved here. I was lost in a small village, my phone was dead, and I was trying to find my guest house. An elderly man who spoke zero English saw me looking confused. Through hand gestures, he figured out where I was going, and then walked me 15 minutes up a hill to the front door. He wouldn't take any money I offered. He just smiled, patted my shoulder, and went on his way. This kind of thing isn't rare. It's a pretty common Georgian experience. This warmth is best seen at the famous Georgian feast, the Supra. If you're ever lucky enough to be invited to one, go. It's a marathon of eating, drinking, and toasting, led by a toastmaster called a tamada. It's a deep cultural ritual that celebrates family, country, peace, and guests. It's where you truly feel the strength of the Georgian community and their joy in sharing their culture. With this deep and ancient culture comes a strong sense of tradition. Georgia is, for the most part, a conservative and patriarchal society. The Georgian Orthodox Church has a powerful influence, and traditional values about family, gender roles, and social norms are very common. For some expats, especially women or those from more progressive Western countries, this can be a big adjustment. You'll notice more traditional dynamics in families and public life. While Georgians are polite and respectful, the underlying social fabric is different from what many are used to. It's not always an in-your-face challenge, but it is a constant undercurrent. This isn't a critique, but it is an important cultural observation. To be happy here, you have to approach these differences with respect and understanding, not judgment. You have to remember that you're a guest in a country with its own ancient traditions. For some, it's a fascinating cultural immersion. For others, it can be a point of friction. It's important to be honest with yourself about how you feel about that before you commit to a life here. If one thing is going to make you fall completely in love with Georgia, it's the food. I'm warning you now, prepare your taste buds because you're in for a treat. Georgian food is, simply put, one of the world's great cuisines. It's an art form born from its unique spot at the crossroads of Europe and Asia, but it's entirely its own thing. The two dishes everyone knows are just the start. Khachapuri, the famous cheese-filled bread, has dozens of regional versions. And khinkali, the spiced meat dumplings, are a national obsession that are an art to eat. You hold the top knot, bite a small hole, slurp the broth, and then eat the rest. But the magic goes so much deeper. It's in the use of walnuts in sauces like bajie and satsivi. It's in the incredible fresh salads with sunflower oil and herbs. It's the smoky flavor of mitzvadi, skewers of meat grilled over grapevine charcoal. It's the vibrant red lobio, a hearty bean stew in a clay pot with cornbread. The focus is always on fresh, local, and seasonal. And then there's the wine. Georgia is widely called the cradle of wine, with an 8,000-year-old history of winemaking. Wine isn't just a drink here, it's part of the national identity. The traditional method of fermenting wine in large buried clay pots called kvivri is a UNESCO-listed heritage practice. Exploring the wineries of the Kakheti region, especially during the Tbilisi Harvest Festival in the fall, is an experience you'll never forget. Now, for the flip side. While Georgian food is amazing, if you're someone who craves a lot of different international cuisines, you might find your options a bit limited, especially outside Tbilisi. The capital has a growing international food scene, with good Italian, Asian, and other options popping up. However, it's not London or New York. You might struggle to find truly top-tier Mexican or Thai food. And once you leave the capital, your options narrow down to pretty much just Georgian food. For most people, this is hardly a problem. Who could get tired of khinkali? But if you're a foodie who lives for trying a different global cuisine every night, it's a trade-off. You're swapping that global variety for a deep dive into one of the world's most unique food cultures. For me, it's a trade I'll happily make every time. Moving to a new country can be lonely if you don't find your people. So, what's it like to build a social life in Georgia? The good news is, you are far from alone. Tbilisi, and to a lesser extent the city of Batumi, has a large and very active expat community. Because of the easy visa and low cost of living, it's become a major hub for digital nomads, artists, and entrepreneurs from all over the world. This means there's a built-in social life waiting for you. There are tons of Facebook groups where people organize everything from weekly trivia nights and hiking trips to language exchanges. The cafe culture in Tbilisi is a huge part of this, with many cafes acting as informal co-working spaces where you'll naturally strike up conversations with other remote workers. It's pretty easy to find people who are in the exact same boat as you, navigating a new culture, excited about the adventure, and open to making friends. That shared experience creates an instant bond and makes the transition to life abroad much less intimidating. Now for the harder part. While Georgians are incredibly warm and hospitable, moving from being a welcome guest to becoming a true integrated friend can be a slow process. The single biggest barrier is the language. Georgian is a unique and notoriously difficult language, with its own alphabet and no relation to any other major language family. While many younger people in Tbilisi speak English, it is far from universal. Outside of the city center, and especially with the older generation, you'll find Russian is more common as a second language, but often it's Georgian only. This language barrier can make deep friendships with locals tough. It takes a real effort to move beyond simple conversations and into the kind of comfortable friendship. While you will have many friendly and wonderful interactions, building that core group of local friends requires dedication and a serious attempt to learn the language. Even learning basic phrases, gamarjoba, hello, madloba, thank you, nakvamdis, goodbye, is a sign of respect that is deeply appreciated and can open a lot of doors. Finally, let's talk about the everyday stuff. The things that don't make the travel brochures but that really shape your quality of life. One of the most pleasant surprises for many expats is how safe Georgia is. It's consistently ranked as one of the safer countries in Europe with a very low crime rate. You can walk around most areas of Tbilisi, even late at night, with a sense of security that is rare in many other major cities. Of course, petty crime can happen anywhere, but it's not a major concern. As for the geopolitical situation, day-to-day life is peaceful and stable. Recent political demonstrations have been largely localized and haven't really impacted tourists or residents. Another huge plus is the healthcare system. While expats don't often use the public system, private healthcare is excellent and incredibly affordable. You can find modern clinics with English-speaking doctors in Tbilisi, and the cost is a fraction of what you would pay in the US. A comprehensive private health insurance plan can start from as little as $25 a month, though more coverage will cost more. That's an amazing price for peace of mind. Life in Georgia isn't without its daily frustrations, many of them coming from infrastructure that's still developing. You might still experience occasional brief power outages or water cuts. The internet is generally fast and reliable in the cities, but can be spotty in rural areas. Then there's the traffic. Driving in Tbilisi is not for the faint of heart. The driving style can be described as assertive. Lanes are often treated as suggestions, and car horns are the city's background music. While the public transport system is effective and cheap, driving yourself can be stressful. You also have to accept a certain level of what I call charming chaos. Things might not always work as smoothly or predictably as they do back home. A package might get lost, a repairman might not show up, or a road might be unexpectedly closed. It's part of the adventure, but on a bad day, these little things can wear you down. It requires a flexible mindset and the ability to just roll with it. So, after all of that, the highs and lows, the beautiful and the frustrating, who is Georgia the perfect expat destination for? Georgia is an absolute haven for a certain type of person. If you're a digital nomad, a remote worker, or an entrepreneur earning foreign income, this country is practically made for you. You get to take advantage of the incredible cost of living, the simple visa policies, and the favorable tax environment to build a life of freedom and quality. It's for the adventurer, the person who values cultural immersion over Western convenience, and who is excited by the idea of exploring ancient monasteries, hiking in stunning mountains, and drinking 8,000-year-old wine. It's for someone who is patient, adaptable, and sees challenges like bureaucracy or a language barrier as part of the authentic experience. However, Georgia might not be the right fit if you're looking for a high-paying local job. It's probably not for you if you need the seamless efficiency and endless consumer choices of a major global city. And it might be a struggle for those who are easily frustrated by different cultural norms or who aren't prepared for the small, daily challenges that come with life in a developing post-Soviet nation. It's a country of stunning beauty and immense heart, a place of contrasts and complexities. For the right person, it's not just a place to live, it's a place to come alive. That is my complete, unfiltered take on the reality of living in Georgia as an expat. I've tried to give you the full picture, from the amazing food to the frustrating paperwork. But now, I really want to hear from you. Is Georgia on your list? Are you already living here and have a different take? Drop all of your questions, stories, and experiences in the comments below. I promise I read every single one and will do my best to answer. And of course, if this guide was helpful, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. It tells YouTube you want to see more, and it ensures you won't miss the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Stay adventurous, and I'll see you in the next one.